Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ultimate Comics Podcast. My name is Nabeel, and I'm one of your hosts.
I'm Josh King, the other host.
And this is the podcast where we talk about comics, and comic book media as well, including media inspired by comic books such as TV shows, movies, animated series, video games, etc. Josh and I have been talking recently about just things that we've been reading, new and not so new comics that we've been reading at the moment. Last episode, most of what we talked about were like current Marvel series, along with a couple of DC things. But this episode will probably be focusing mostly on DC and a couple of independent titles that you've been reading, Josh.
Yeah, I am the hipster. I've been reading some indie stuff.
Yeah, look at you, Mr.
Yeah.
I'm too cool for Marvel and DC right now.
I will say that these indie comics share a lot of the same writers as Marvel and DC, as we were
Yeah.
talking about before the recording. And also, unfortunately, it's not that indie anymore.
Image is not as indie as it used to be, probably when it started back in like the early 90s. It was the cool, like, trendy new, like, hipster thing of like, yeah, we're staying away from Marvel and DC. We're taking all the biggest, most talented names, and we're all going to start our own creator-owned comic company.
And now they're like, we sold off to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. So, we got a great Invincible animated series on Prime Video now. So at least they got that out of it.
Look, I'm not gonna say how Amazon and Jeff Bezos does things is the most ethical or the best or is good for humanity, but some of the stuff they make on movies is just out of the park good. Let's be fair.
Yeah, I'll be real there. That's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next season of Invincible as much as anyone else.
The Boys is a great show, based on
I-
not a great comic, honestly.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, I think we wanted to discuss the recent trailer that dropped for Spider-Man Noir, the
Yeah,
series that will also be on Prime Video.
I got out of work, and I don't know if I got home. I was in like the Target bathroom after I got off work. I saw it on my phone. I put on my headphones, turned it on, and immediately was like, I gotta put this on the script," and just added it to the script.
Right now, right here in the Target bathroom, I gotta put in my earbuds and watch the Spider-Man Noir trailer. I gotta see Nick Cage swinging around.
Yeah, I was like, I'll be honest. Even though you told me about like, oh, they're making it, I saw the news they're making it. I just couldn't believe they're actually doing it with
Yep.
Nick Cage.
And it's live action. Yeah, live action Spider-Man Noir series featuring Nicolas Cage reprising his role from Into the Spider-Verse.
I'm gonna ask you a question that I know the answer to, but the audience does not. But
All
have
right.
you read Spider-Man Noir, the comic?
Yes. I
Yeah.
read the original miniseries. I haven't read the sequel, was it Eyes Without a Face? But I did read the original miniseries.
Oh, Eyes Without a Face is really good, and I'm sure it's on your list now, or if it's been on your list for years. It is the basis of the Noir character as we see him in Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I feel like they did go for a more comedic approach, obviously,
Yeah.
with Spider-Verse, because that just fits the tone of that movie.
Yeah.
And it seems like this series also has like a good balance, I feel, between like the darker, grittier tone of the original comics and like the goofier sensibilities of Nicolas Cage's take on the character from Into the Spider-Verse.
And I think Nicolas Cage is a very good actor. He's just not in a lot of good roles, which he admits, because he was until recently in a ton of debt.
Yeah, and which probably explains why he took on so many roles. I feel like the joke is that Nicolas Cage notoriously never turns down a role. Like someone comes to him with something like an offer and he's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it. Sure."
He admitted that he did it because he was in a ton of debt. But now that he's mostly out of debt, he says, like, I take on more artistic roles or roles I want, and he loves comics, which is like, he's one of us. He's a big comic nerd. Though I like to think if I do become rich, I would not blow $1 billion on dinosaurs and a haunted mansion, but
Oh, I would, for sure.
it
Yeah.
would. Didn't he buy like a $1 million worth comic book that got stolen and like the FBI had to get involved or something? And they just
Yeah, I
found
think
it?
that was Action Comics #1, like first appearance of Superman, right?
Yeah, and I love how enough people knew it was a big deal that someone stole it from Nick Cage after they paid like $3 million for it, and then the FBI were like, "Oh man, this counts as art theft, so we gotta track it down."
Yeah, no, it was a huge case, yeah. And he's like, "Listen, I just want my comics back."
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Real, that's me too."
But I feel Noir, this is going to be a a mix of serious or comedic. Could go either way, and Nick Cage is a good actor to do that kind of stuff. He has a lot of range.
Yeah, I really love how in an interview he said recently that he's taking inspiration from both Humphrey Bogart and Bugs Bunny to be Spider-Man Noir, which is exactly like what you're seeing from what I can tell from the trailer, in the mix of like dark, gritty Spider-Man Noir and like just goofy, unhinged Nicolas Cage like absurdity. I am looking forward to that because I feel like that is a good balance. It's not veering too far on one way or the other. It looks very fun in that way.
Yeah. And also, talking of Amazon, it's going to be on Amazon, not MGM Prime. It's going to be on Amazon.
Thank God. Yeah. I don't know who would have MGM Prime.
I did not know it existed until you told me. I was like, why is MGM Prime a thing? Like,
or
there can't
MGM
be that
Plus,
many.
Yeah, whatever.
MGM, there can't be that many Wizard of Oz fans out there.
Yeah. It's fun too because the series has an option where you can watch it in color or in black and white. And I'm like, you'd be a fool not to watch it in black and white. Like, that's stupid. I'm not watching it in color. This is Spider-Man Noir.
The comic is not black and white. Let's be fair. The comic is not black and white.
I know. But, like, I didn't even bother to watch the color trailer. The black and white is where it's at. Like, come on.
Yeah. I didn't know there was a colored trailer, but I really am excited to see who his love interest is. It's either because Noir doesn't really have a strong love interest-ish in the comics.
It's Felicia Hardy in the original comics. I know that.
Kind of, but they break up in Eyes with... Sorry for the spoiler.
I know about that anyways.
Okay. But also she's an older... She's a MILF who doesn't have kids in the comic.
It just makes her a cougar.
Okay, a cougar. Felicia Hardy is like kind of a love interest. It's a really weird love interest because in the original series, there's like this private eye and journalist who used to be mentored by Ben Urich, and Felicia Hardy is like that sleazy noir journalist's girlfriend that Peter inherits after taking over from Ben.
Yeah, well, she owns like a nightclub, right?
Yeah, it's called the Black Cat.
Yeah, called the Black Cat, yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see an older version of, like, Peter Parker mingling with an older MJ or Gwen. You know, like, they don't have to be young forever.
In this show, he's Ben Reilly, is what it seems like.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's weird.
It is weird because he is Peter Parker in the original Spider-Man Noir.
And in Spider-Verse?
Yeah, and Spider-Verse in the movies. So it is weird. One of the creators or someone was talking about the show. They're like, oh yeah, Peter Parker's associated with a brighter, more optimistic, like high school kid. And so we wanted something darker and different. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the problem, is Peter Parker is commonly associated with a high school kid. I think we need more media of Peter Parker that is not him in high school, because he hasn't been in high school for decades in the comics.
I'm hoping it is Peter Parker, but they just say, oh, as he got older, he changed his name for like secrecy or something.
Yeah, it's an alias he's taking.
Yeah, because it's like he has Ben Urich and Uncle Ben in the original comic to take Ben from. It will be an interesting take on it, and I don't know. I just want to see an older Peter Parker with an older MJ or an older Gwen. You know, we don't have to have him be young forever and in depth forever.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, and Riley is like Aunt May's maiden name, and Benjamin is his middle name, so he could just be changing his name or going by an alias. I don't know. Yeah. What are you reading right now, Josh, in terms of independent comics?
Independent in the form of Image. I think Image is they're the company that made Invincible. I'm reading Sex Criminals, which I only found out about this relatively recently, and it's because that guy from Silicon Valley and the other Marvel movie, Internals, with that name I have difficulty pronouncing, Kumail
Nanjiani.
Yeah, Kumail Nanjiani. He's starring Sex Criminals, and I'm like, what is this? So I looked it up, binge read like 15 issues, and I was like, this is awesome. This is weird. I want to see where this goes.
HornDog.
That is not true. I'm objectively not a horn.
You heard it here first, folks. Josh Kang is reading a series called Sex Criminals. After a year and a half on this podcast of going on and on about horn dogs and the dangers of horn dogginess. How do you defend yourself from this?
It's a good comic. It goes into depth about two young people's understandings of sexuality and sexual maturity. And it also does what I do if I found that I have powers, which is, so one's a librarian, and her library is going bankrupt, and she finds out that when she and this dude, specifically this guy, have sex, time freezes, so they're like, we gotta save the library by robbing banks to save the library.
So you're saying if you had these powers, you would do the exact same thing, which is rob banks.
Yes, if I had any powers, I'd rob banks.
So it doesn't matter which power it is, you would use it immediately to rob a bank.
Yeah, even Doorman's powers. I'll rob the bank, and if a cop comes up, I'm gonna stub his toe.
I mean, Doorman's power, that's so easy to rob banks with, so of course that is like the natural impulse.
Spider-Man, I'm gonna crawl up the ceiling. No one's looking at the ceiling in the bank, steal the money, and crawl out.
Alright, Human Torch.
I'll go in, turn into a fire, and burn the vault, and take the money.
Okay. It's hard to come up with a power where you wouldn't be able to rob a bank, because then I'm like, who else? I don't know. Yeah, Invisible Woman, easy.
Yeah,
Professor
that
X,
one's easy.
that's an easy one. You could easily rob a bank and just like mind control people and make them forget about the whole thing.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I thought for Professor X, I could just steal like people's bank info. I was like, I don't know if I'll do that. That's where I draw the line. I don't want to steal bank info. I want to.
Right.
There's the Soulless
You just
Corporation.
want to rob the bank directly.
Yes, you see, if I rob a bank, it's not gonna like what they lose $1 million. Their insurance has to cover it. It's okay. If I rob old Margot down the street of her money, what's gonna happen to old Margot? Is she gonna like just go hungry? And I just have to feel
you don't want
bad
to do Margot like that.
Yeah.
Not after everything she's done for you.
Yeah. Also, Margot is a real old lady I know. I did tell her about this podcast. Yeah. So Margot, no, I will never rob your bank account.
Yeah, Margot, whoever you are, if you're listening, you're safe. If Josh gets powers, he will not use it to steal your bank info.
I was gonna go back and say, actually, if it's like a billionaire, I wouldn't mind taking some of their money. They're not gonna miss it. They're not gonna care.
Yeah, it makes no difference for them, honestly.
And maybe, just like the criminals and sex criminals, I might use them to save a local library. You never know.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like an interesting premise, this comic. It does get me intrigued, and I've heard really great things about sex criminals.
Thank you. Also, I learned so many weird positions from that comic.
Oh
and I'm
my god.
Some of these are a little tame, some of these are like a little unhygienic, is the best way to say it. But remember, kids, you could taste it, just don't smell it.
God. Okay. Well, this is dangerous information to be giving you. I don't know who sold you this comic, but they should not have done it.
Who was starring in it? Kumail? I know you just told me.
Kumail Nanjiani?
Yeah, I feel he's a great actor. I didn't see Eternals. I've heard mixed things, and he deserves a good. Oh yeah, he deserves a good comic role. It would also be nice for like. It's really good for like Asian and South Asian representation, which there's a bit more these days, but not much.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't his fault, really. Like the movie or any of the actors' faults, really. I feel like everyone was doing their best. It just that movie was not it. It was not good.
Yeah,
it was bad.
I will say I think he got the better end of that movie because now he gets cast as buff people all the time because everyone made a joke about him being really buff for that movie.
Yeah, it sucks too because the joke is like he was hyping up how buff he got. And it wasn't really for any particular reason. I don't think he really even got like a shirtless scene that a lot of Marvel actors get. You just get to see his arms, which is like, oh, it's cool. You're ripped. You're jacked. But like, why? There was no point to this.
He was a cop in Ella McKay, another not great movie, because of that role. So he got paid twice because of getting buff.
Yeah, it opened up opportunities. Like, good for you.
Yeah, you're no longer the nerd. You could be the cop now.
Yeah.
The other one I really like is Copperhead.
Yes. What's that one about?
It's about a lady. She becomes a sheriff. It's kind of like if you've seen the show or read the comic Stumptown, if you know it.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't read it.
It has Robin from How I Met Your Mother. It has who I forgot was in the Marvel movies for some reason. She's Maria Hill.
Yeah, Maria Hill. Yeah,
Maria Hill / Toby Smulders plays a horny detective who just relocates to the small town, and she's like a hardcore detective / private eye / veteran. So like she just blows all the small town shenanigans out of the water, which I think is becoming the new theme of detective shows. It's like that, but in space, and we always love it when there's feudalism in space or cowboys in space.
Yeah, cowboys in space, like a space western, like Cowboy Bebop, Firefly.
Or any scene with Tatooine in Star Wars. Not a big fan of the name because Copperhead means pro-slavery Democrat during the Civil War. That's what it means. So,
yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, like I get that has like this Western feel, like, oh, Copperheads were all over the Old West, and I'm like, yeah, but that wasn't a good thing. Those were guys who were like, maybe the South should just leave with all their slaves. I'm like, those aren't good people. Don't call yourself a Copperhead.
They're like pro actual like division of the Union, and also just like keep slavery but keep it away from us is the whole idea.
Yeah, they're guys who go like, who cares if half the country gets to own another person?
Yeah, it's like not our problem.
I don't know if the writer knows that's what the name comes from. It's like
Do
a
you
common
know
thing. Yeah.
why they have that title for the comic?
It's because it's like a common Old West thing where like you call someone a Copperhead or you go like, I'm a Copperhead. It's like a political term that just took on a cultural connotation of the Old West, I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like you go like, where were you back east? I was like Copperhead. And people go, oh, that's hardcore. And it actually just means I think some people should be allowed to own other people, which is less cool.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
What do you like about the series?
It's well written. It's also just it's an interesting take because I do love superheroes. I love superhero comics. I think some people critique comics like I was too dominated by superheroes, and I kind of agree. I think comics are a great way to explore lots of different ideas, and I love superheroes. I don't think everything has to be a superhero thing.
No, exactly.
Yeah, and I like the idea of like doing those Old West duels with cowboy hats, but with space lasers, like a revolver that shoots a laser.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, also has like a lady sheriff as the main character, which is always fun to read.
Yeah, go feminism.
Yeah, go feminism.
That sounds very fun though. I love a good space western. I'll have to check that one out too.
Yeah.
You're opening my eyes to the world of independent comics, Josh.
Thank you. Another great comic, its era is long past, is Atomic Blonde. If you liked that movie, it's a comic.
Oh, I didn't know that was a comic. Wow.
Yeah, it was a comic. It's really interesting because like a lot of different movies and studios are adapting comics into media, but they don't always advertise it as a comic, and which is a shame because you read it and go, it's a wonderful comic.
Yeah.
Motherless Brooklyn is based on a novel, but also they changed the movie and they took inspirations from a comic for that movie too. So if you like
That's
that,
cool.
Motherless Brooklyn, yeah.
Damn. Well, I recently started veering into the world of Cosmic Marvel after the last episode when you asked me about anything Cosmic Marvel related, and I was like, I couldn't tell you. Like, I've read a few Silver Surfer comics. I don't know that much about much else outside of like the world of Fantastic Four and Avengers and X-Men when they do cosmic stuff. I started reading Cosmic Marvel with Annihilation, and I'm almost finished with that event, and like I feel like I'm just super late to the party because this is like the coldest take like of all time, is that like Annihilation is great. Like that's awesome. Like what a wonderful event. I'm like, people have been saying that since like 2006 or 7 when it came out. It's like everyone knows already. I'm just way behind. I'm almost like 20 years behind the curve here. But it was great. Like I loved Annihilation. It made like Nova one of my favorite cosmic characters. Like I feel like Richard Rider is just so cool in that story. They immediately just decimate the Nova Corps and leave him as the last survivor, which already endears me to the character because like that's kind of the trope that I'm into, is like the last survivor, like kind of like Kyle Rayner, why he's like my favorite Green Lantern, the only one for a long time after like the Green Lantern Corps was just gone for years. And he's just such a very compelling character too, and like he becomes a huge badass in this story and becomes like a general and like a leader. Like the whole comic is a very epic like cosmic war story, and it really like ups the stakes and puts like Marvel's like cosmic characters like at their most desperate.
They almost made an Annihilation Marvel movie, fun fact.
Damn.
Or they were hinting towards it because the Nova Corps got the Power Stone, and the Nova Corps in the MCU are just regular soldiers and pilots.
Yeah.
But with the Power Stone, the idea I think they were hinting at was that they were going to create like these Annihilation style like Nova Corps guys who just fly around, and except now there's no Nova Corps, so the last guy might just become, space cosmic.
After like Xandar was like decimated in Infinity War, everyone was talking about and theorizing like maybe there's a post-credit scene where Richard Rider like emerges from the rubble and he's like the last survivor, and that's how we get Nova in the MCU. And now I'm like, damn, after reading the comic, I'm like, I hope so. I want to see him.
I believe in Annihilation. I'm a big artist. I have not been keeping up with artists much. I read up to the point where Chris Pratt, what's his name in the comics?
Star-Lord?
Star-Lord, but what was Peter Quill becomes a polyamorous guy living on a turtle for a bit, which is that's the last one I read. And I'm like, What? But not that it was bad.
That's like Al Ewing's Guardians of the Galaxy run, which
Yeah,
I've heard really good things about.
it's
And I
great.
will tell you, reading Annihilation and seeing the interactions between Nova, Star-Lord, and Gamora, I'm like, I totally know exactly where Al Ewing was coming from with that. Like, you could totally read their relationship as like a poly, like, it was not a stretch for them to like just make that progression in Al Ewing's run to make them polyam, because like the three of them are totally that's a throuple right there.
Recreational relaxation.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah. I got it. We got it. I like it because it's Annihilation is where we get their Guardians uniform from, which they moved away from in the comics because of the MCU. Even though the MCU brought those back anyway, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I love these blue uniforms. They look like Civil War soldiers or like cops. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like this take where like they don't have to be space criminals. They could be reformed space criminals who wear these fancy uniforms.
No, exactly. And I
Yeah,
haven't gotten to that point yet. I think it's probably like Annihilation Conquest
yeah,
when they like formed the Guardians of the Galaxy, who then became the MCU's Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah.
But it's really interesting seeing like how a lot of these characters in the cosmic Marvel world are like revamped. Like the Drax the Destroyer, for example. Annihilation is where you get his modern incarnation that was then adapted into the MCU, where
Yeah,
he's more of like the badass, like knife wielding like warrior. When before in the comics he was literally like Space Hulk. He was like this big green dumb brute. That was Drax. And
yeah,
Annihilation, like, and the lead up to it, like, transformed him literally. He, like, dies and comes back
yeah.
as the Drax that you know and love today. And he's a lot more serious, obviously, in these comics than he becomes in the MCU when he is played for laughs a lot more,
Oh yeah.
which is very interesting.
I think until Bendis, the Guardians were like a very serious crew, like comic, not too much comedy.
There is a good chunk of comedy and like comic relief throughout Annihilation. Like it's not totally like serious the whole time, but it's definitely not at the level of like the James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy where it is oftentimes just a space comedy.
It's been, I can't believe I'm saying this, it's been a decade since I read Annihilation. Is this when Groot could breathe fire?
They haven't even brought in Rocket and Groot yet. I think that's not going to happen till Conquest.
Yeah.
But also Ronan the Accuser, it plays a big part in Annihilation, and he's way more interesting in the comics than the MCU.
He's a Fantastic Four villain, right?
Yeah,
Originally?
originally a Fantastic Four villain. Annihilation makes him a very interesting and like compelling character. Like he's exiled from the Kree for a while, despite like still believing in their traditions and their faith and still believing in the Kree Empire. But now
Yeah.
he's like cast out a little more, which makes for a very compelling character arc for him. And eventually like gets to rule the Kree Empire. So I was just fascinated by Ronan as a character, as opposed to
Yeah.
like the more one note villain you get in the MCU.
Yeah.
Which again, not a hot take, but I understand the MCU's villain problem now. Like you take these villains and make them like one off, like one and dones in the movies, and you're like, but there's so
And you
much
kill
more
them.
material. Yeah.
Ronan in the deleted scenes of Guardians of the Galaxy was a Kree who was cast off. Fun fact.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I just
Yeah.
wish it was explored a little more like in the comics.
Poor Ronan though. Like, he goes on Earth, occasionally has to fight a human named Richard. He goes to space and he has to like deal with another human named Richard, and he's like, is this my life now? Just dealing with
Yeah.
these monkey people from this one planet constantly named Richard?
Well, the interesting thing is he teams up with Nova as part of the Resistance in Annihilation. That's what I like about Annihilation is that everyone's so desperate to fight
Yeah.
against the Annihilation wave that people are making alliances left and right with people they would never make alliances with normally.
Yeah.
Like Ronan is like teaming up with the Super Skrull, for instance. Like
Yeah.
Kree and Skrull team up like crazy.
But that's what leads to the unification of the Korean Scroll states later.
We get that down the line for sure when Hulkling becomes, since he's half Kree, half Skrull. But yeah, it's such a good event. I can't wait to read more of Cosmic Marvel because they're really like crafting like such a wonderful corner of the Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, I think my experience with Cosmic Marvel is it's kind of like the thing where like if you work in a division of a company or a comics thing where there's just less editorial attention to every single thing you do, you just have a lot more space to have fun.
Yeah, there's a lot more freedom if like the bar isn't really that high. It's like, all right, we are trying to revamp something that hasn't been working for a while. So have fun, do your best. And like people aren't watching you as carefully as they
Yeah.
would if you were like doing Spider-Man
Yeah.
or Captain America or someone, right?
Spider-Man, I think, has like the most editorializing at this point.
So many comic writers are scared to write the Amazing Spider-Man
Really?
title. Yeah, Chip Zdarsky went on record being like, "Yeah, I don't want to write Amazing Spider-Man just because of the pressure that like everyone watching you, not just like editorial. I'm talking about like the fans and like the whole comic book community. Like everyone expects something different out of that. So it's hard to get on a big name title like that for the most popular Marvel character."
Yeah, I bet.
But moving into DC now, let's talk about all the DC titles that are going on right now. I have so many that I'm reading that I really love because DC's knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
Right now, Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez are
The
on
writer
Batman.
of Sex Criminal.
Yes, Matt Fraction, who was like one of the creatives on Sex Criminals. He's writing Batman with art by Jorge Jimenez. So speaking of Sex Criminals, and well, first off, with Jorge Jimenez on art, like the Batman title is gorgeous. It's such a beautiful comic to read. Also, props to Jorge Jimenez because he's been illustrating Batman for so long now through like however many writers they've been going through. Like he was on when James Tynion the Fourth was on, and then he was on when Chip Zdarsky was on the title as well, and now he's sticking with it with Matt Fraction. He's just been getting better and better. He has not missed a beat on art. The bat suit that he designed, the new one for this series, looks so good. Have you seen it, Josh, where it's
I have
like
not, actually. I am behind. What's it
the
like?
current bat suit looks really good because it's like a combination of like light and darkness at the same time. It's got like the very standard like, general bat costume, but with a lot more blue emphasized.
I'm looking at it now. Very classy.
Yeah, like blue symbol, blue cape, but at the
Blue
same time,
underpants,
like, yeah, he's
a
got the
bulge.
trunks. Yeah, they all have a bulge.
Look, if your Superman needs the underpants to keep his super strong out of people's faces, Batman doesn't. You don't need.
Yeah.
He has like it's armor, right? Like general, like as of like a decade, the Batsuit has always been like Kevlar. So
Yeah, I mean he's always prepared. That's the thing about Batman. So I'm sure that the trunks are somehow protecting his bulge.
yeah,
But the new Batsuit's great. It's the perfect balance between light and darkness, I think, for the character. The blue adds a whole lot, honestly. And I feel like the action sequence are like so kinetic and so dynamic and so just like mesmerizing to watch. So the art's gorgeous. The comic itself, I'm really enjoying. We're like, I think 6 issues in now, so not very far, all things considered. But I really like how each issue feels like its own like self-contained story right now. There is like a larger overarching plot going on, but I like how they're very one and done so far. Like it feels very episodic to kind of settle you into the tone of the series and like what they're going for. And it's very fast paced, it's very action heavy, which is really fun. And we also give the spotlight too to Tim Drake as Robin a lot of the time. Like issue 2 was very much a Tim Drake spotlight issue, and I thought that was so well done. And he also got a new costume, and his costume looks fantastic. The red and black, it's like kind of reminiscent of Tim's 1 year later look in DC. And there's a lot of controversy now because in the most recent issue, Tim quote unquote retired. He like left the role as Robin. Everyone's like, because he left because of his relationship with Bernard, who I know is a character that most people, pretty much almost everyone, is like, this is a nothing burger of a love interest to give Tim.
but Tim's gay or bi?
He's bisexual, yeah. He came out a few years ago.
Okay, I missed that.
And they decide when they make Tim come out, they're going to pair him off with this original character named Bernard, who, like, I'll be honest, yeah, there's not really much to talk about there. It's fine, I guess. So, but a lot of people are like, oh, I hate this decision. He's leaving for Bernard, who nobody cares about. And I'm like, all right, but from interviews, it seems like Matt Fraction has big plans for Tim.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's coming back. Like he's not going to be retiring. He's going to be coming back in some capacity. And I think it's going to be really cool when it does. So I'm excited to see what they have planned for Tim Drake in the future. Because he's my favorite Robin. I think he's a lot of people's favorite Robins.
People move across this country, which is basically across a continent, and sometimes to another country for like a partner. So I could totally believe someone leaving, risking your life every day as Robin, where you're not even paid for like your partner.
Yeah,
I totally believe it.
And it makes sense. I mean, they've done this before though, with like Tim's planning on leaving crime fighting behind. He's planning on ditching the cape. I'm like, okay, we've seen this before, and it makes sense because he is like, out of all the Robins, he's the most normal of all of them. He's just like a regular kid. But I don't know. I feel like he is going to come back in some form or another, and there are plans for him, so I wouldn't count him out just yet. And they've also introduced a new love interest for Batman, Dr. Annika Zeller. And,
hey, we know her.
I mean, different Annika, not Annika Falconer, if you're listening, Annika.
After we had like our first episode on Annika, I've noticed like it's like the thing where like you notice one thing and it just starts repeating over, that there's a lot more Annikas in this world than I realized, and I'm like, I've never heard of this name before. How are there so many? I turn on the news, there's an Annika.
Annikas before I met our Annika.
I have not.
All right, well, that sounds like a you thing, man.
Well, like you grew up in like the Northwest in Texas, which is,
I've moved around a bit. I've met a lot of people with a lot of names. I don't know what to tell you.
I've met more Nabeels than I've met Annikas until like these last few months, where Annikas have just been popping out left and right, and I'm like, where were you guys?
That's insane.
Yeah.
How have you met more Nabeels than Annikas?
I live in LA. It's a big city with
I guess
a diverse population.
Yeah, that is pretty diverse to have met more than one Nabeel.
It's not a rare name as far as I'm aware, right? Or
it is in this country.
No, it's not. If you live in like New York or LA, there's a ton of like Arab and Middle Eastern Americans just walking around with like that kind of name.
I don't live in New York or LA. It's so rare for me to meet another Nabeel. Okay. When that happens, that's all we talk about.
Have you met another Nabeel?
Yes, I've met a couple.
Okay, see? So you've met a couple.
It's very rare though.
Uh-huh.
It happens like every 20 years or something. No, not 20.
I was
every
gonna say
10 years or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, Dr. Zeller is a very cool character. She's like really working on rehabilitation for like the patients that go into Arkham, and I find that very compelling as a character, and why Batman would be attracted to her, because like she is focused more on like rehabilitation rather than punishment for a lot of these criminals. And so I think she's gonna play an interesting part going forward, especially because like she's got the Joker in a tank somewhere. Yeah, is the thing. So I'm worried for Bruce, because I'm like, dude, like she's trying to like, you can't rehabilitate this guy. That's the one guy I would say like there's no way. But I feel like the series is in an interesting place now, where like Vandal Savage is also like police commissioner, and the Gotham cops are like more corrupt than ever. Like Jim Gordon is like literally a beat cop, and is of course on Batman's side, but he's gone way down the ranks. Harvey Bullock is like a PI. So it's interesting to see like so many of Batman's allies are really low ranking on the police force or outside of the system, because now they've gone like, given the state of the world, I don't think we can have Batman working with police, given all the real life atrocities that have gone on.
I mean, someone who knows a lot about New York and has lived in LA, both cities have made billionaires in charge of the police before, so why not? Yeah.
Yep, it's scarily real. They're really putting a mirror to our world and showing it to us.
I also know, because I read the Poison Ivy comics, Poison Ivy is going to be mayor next month?
Yes, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, and her chief of staff will probably be Karen from HR, who's just this reoccurring... Actually, not reoccurring, she's a main character in the Poison Ivy comics.
Damn, alright.
Yeah.
Well, this should be interesting to see how that affects Batman and the other Batman titles as well throughout Gotham.
Especially because Poison Ivy is less villainous now. It's interesting, I guess, like, the more you're liked by the fans, which is, like, I'm not always against it, but, like, you don't have to make them less villainous to be more likable, Like, you could just keep them as villains, but... Yeah.
No, that's true. But yeah, Batman's really fun. Superman has been really great as a title. I think Joshua Williamson, since he's been writing the title, has been killing it on Superman.
Nice.
Like, it has been like the center of DC's All-In saga that started with that whole All-In one-shot. And I think as it should be. I mean, it's Superman. He should be at the center of the DC universe.
He is one of the 4 pillars.
Yeah, he's one of the 4 pillars. He's be almost as important as Harley Quinn, is the thing.
Who makes more money, Harley Quinn or Superman?
I mean, it's a toss-up, really. I'm scared to find out just how close that is.
Look, the Olympics. I did not watch this, but I've been told in the Winter Olympics, one of the figure skaters dressed up as Harley Quinn. So
I mean, yeah, she's popular, all right. I give up. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's scary how popular she is. She's like the Deadpool of DC. But the Superman title's been so good. It's had a really interesting focus specifically on like Lex Luthor and like the possibility of redemption for the character throughout the run.
Billionaires are people too.
I don't think that's the point they're trying to make. Lex Luthor is just a very compelling and complex character, more so than real life billionaires.
Wow, we just had the pro billionaire rally in California like last week.
Were you there?
No, but apparently 18 people showed up on the pro billionaire side.
18?
Yeah.
That's so sad.
But only one of them was a millionaire, at least.
Well.
It's like some of them may have been millionaires.
But I think the Lex Luthor arc is interesting because for me, it's like, wait, this is like the better version of what they're doing with Norman Osborn in Spider-Man right now.
Yeah.
Because like they're basically giving him the same character arc of like, is it possible for him to be redeemed? Can he like work together with Superman? Can the two of them create something good? Like at the beginning of the run, like Lex turned LexCorp into like SuperCorp, and like
I did read that one.
Graves, yeah, right,
yeah.
His old assistant Mercy like working for SuperCorp and like helping out Superman, and like the two of them working together to face a lot of like foes that a lot of them come from Lex's past, and like face a lot of threats to Metropolis, and like to see like their tenuous alliance. There is a lot of tension there, but the whole thing makes more sense to me than Spider-Man and Norman Osborn, because Lex hasn't really done as many grievous things to Superman, like personally, as Norman has to Peter.
My thing with Lex Luthor is that there is always, you could, no matter the version, there's always some good you could see in him. Like, if that makes sense, like, he does sometimes have good intentions, or even his bad things you can see, like he thinks is right. He's deluded himself, but he genuinely thinks is on the right side of history.
Yeah.
Like Norman, it's like, oh, I'm gonna throw this pregnant lady down the stairs because I can. I'm gonna cuck Peter just because I can.
I'm gonna like murder your girlfriend, and I'm gonna like kill your unborn child
just because I can.
Yeah, just because I can, and fuck you, Peter.
It's kind of like he's a little mentally unwell and insane. Well, Luthor, you go like, he's wrong, but like I could see why he thinks is right. Because Luthor's kind of like a Doctor Doom-esque characters at times, where he genuinely thinks I'm doing what's best for humanity, or he deluded himself into thinking he's altruistic to a certain degree.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's different too is that if you look at like the previous like Zeb Wells Spider-Man run, it's like Peter Parker working for Norman Osborn, and I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And then in the Superman run, it's like Lex Luthor literally, it's the other way around, working for Superman and working to help Superman.
Yeah.
And also, Lex wasn't just shot by the Sin Eater and his sins were all of a sudden taken from him like Norman Osborn. Like, he's still the same. He's just got to like work at his redemption.
Yeah. He's got to go to therapy. He's got to have to face his demons.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, they're not on the best of terms right now, obviously, Superman and Lex, but at least, like, it's been explored in a lot more compelling way than the past with Spider-Man and Norman Osborn.
I feel DC, not perfect, nothing is, has just been knocking out of the park in a way Marvel has not been doing as well. There's still some good stuff coming out, but yeah.
Yeah, because DC as a whole feels more consistent to the point where like everything they're doing is cohesive and connected, where it feels like there's a shared vision and like just a unity in all the titles, and not in a way where it makes everything feel the same, but in a way where it makes it feel like this is all happening in the same universe and everyone who's working on it is kind of on the same page. Like for the All In saga, like whether that's in the main titles or like the absolute titles, it feels like everyone kind of understands the assignment.
Yeah.
There's a larger overarching narrative to the universe. Whereas Marvel, it feels like it's all over the place right now. Like, it's very inconsistent.
It's to promote Marvel comics, unfortunately. It's to promote the Marvel movies. I feel it's become
a good chunk of it feels like it has to. Like, I just saw the announcement of, like, the Spider-Man Brand New Day comic series that's going to be coming out to like help promote the movie that Dan Slott is writing, and it's literally a flashback series to Brand New Day. Yeah, I see the face you're making,
Yeah,
Josh.
I don't
And
like
it's
that.
like, it's fine. It's like nowadays at Marvel, they do a bunch of like nostalgia series that are like mini series written by creators who have worked on characters in the past just
Yeah,
for fun's sake. So it's not like, this is not egregious. I like Dan Slott. I like him on Spider-Man, but at the same time, I'm like, we've seen this before. You're
yeah,
not giving us anything new or fresh here,
yeah,
like with DC. Because like you look at Superman right now, it's like you got to see Lois Lane as Superwoman with like Superman's powers, which was really fun. You
yeah.
got to see, now we're getting like Superboy Prime more, who's a really fun character written under Joshua Williamson under his Superman. Because he's breaking the fourth wall a lot. He's very much like Superman, Deadpool mashup kind of character.
Didn't Superboy Prime like cause one of the reboots in DC because he broke the literal walls of the universe or something?
Yeah, he was like the main antagonist of Infinite Crisis. Yeah. But he's also another like character that has been trying his hand at reforming, and he's going to be post DCKO. He's going to be like the star of the Superman series, which should be fun to
I heard
see
there's a
like the
lot of
chaos he gets up to.
comics with Wonder Woman's daughter. I need to read them. I read some.
Trinity.
Trinity. I heard that's really good.
I've heard actually mostly negative things on Tom King's Wonder Woman.
Okay, yeah, I've heard negative things about his Wonder Woman, but like, isn't there a lot of decent work with like Damian, Connor, and the kid?
I don't know. I haven't read it, to be fair. I'm kind of scared to, because like hardcore Wonder Woman fans are pissed and they can't stand his Tom King's Wonder Woman. They
Yeah.
don't like how Wonder Woman's written, and they don't like the creation of this new character Trinity and how obsessed like Tom King seems to be with writing Wonder Woman's daughter. So
Is it that he's obsessed, or like corporates really pushing like we want this kid, like go all in on the kid?
that's a question that's above my pay grade. I couldn't tell you.
I really love it when the comic girls go, "No, this kid's the best," and like 20 years later they go, "I hated the kid, but corporate just made me like promote
Yeah,
her."
who knows? But Nightwing right now is really good
You
too.
told me about it. I read some of it. Yeah, I liked it.
The Dan Waters, like Dexter Soy run. I know Dexter Soy has left and they're waiting until I think like Dennis Cohen is going to go on art, but
What a soy move.
it's been great. I've loved this Nightwing run. It's very different than Tom Taylor's run, I would say, because I think a lot of people love Tom Taylor's work on Nightwing, but I feel like by the end it kind of felt like nothing happened, was the thing. But Tom Taylor's run, it was fantastic because Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo came on the title after the whole Rick Grayson debacle. And after that's all over and done with, Dick Grayson gets his memories back. He becomes Nightwing again. Everything's great. And it was a lot of fun. And it was just great to see Nightwing being Nightwing again. The artwork was gorgeous. It was like fun stories. You get to see him team up with the Titans again and Barbara Gordon and Batman and all these guys. But I feel like at the same time, the run was very fan servicey. And at the end of the day, like, not much happened in the run. Like, it felt like they were setting up plot points like this serial killer named Heartless, like, forever. And that wasn't dealt with until like the very end of the run, where most of the time you're like, nothing's really going on except we're celebrating Dick Grayson, which is great. But like, what I like about Dan Waters right now, his run on Nightwing, is it feels like stuff is happening. And I think it's also a balance of like the tone for Nightwing, where it feels like there's a lot of lightheartedness with the character, but there's also a darker side too, because he was raised by Batman. So it makes sense. But it's really cool how this Nightwing run really establishes a lot of like the different gangs of Bloodhaven. It establishes like the corrupt police force, and Nightwing is actually like working at some points to like protect the gangs from like the cops who are like clearly very corrupt and like working with some bad people who are providing them technology.
These bangs need to be taken down, but in the name of justice, not because this cop has a grudge.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, is Bloodhaven a suburb of Gotham? Because I feel it changes whether it's like a suburb or like its own thing.
No, it's a separate city entirely.
Okay, but like it's near Gotham, right? Is the thing?
Yeah, it's like next to Gotham or something. Yeah, it's pretty close geographically speaking.
So just like Dick Grayson and Batman, it's like a suburb that just became its own city. Then
kind of. It's a city still, but it's like Gotham, but worse somehow.
what?
Which is crazy.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gotham is supposed to be like the worst city, and so I really hate it when they go, this character's intense because he's in like a worse version of Gotham. I'm like, you just can't do this every time. It works with a question where it's like, it's Hub City, it's like Gotham, but with no job, so everyone's a criminal.
Yeah, I'm
That
like, how
makes
much worse can it get?
yeah,
How much lower can we sink?
yeah. It works for Hub City. It doesn't work for like every other city.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how Bloodhaven's always been since like the Chuck Dixon, Scott McDaniel stuff from like the late 90s. I don't know what to tell you. That's just somehow it's worse.
Oh,
But what I like about Nightwing is really interesting too right now because it got some really out there concepts too that I'm not sure if they work entirely yet, but we'll see when the story wraps up. There's like the Cirque du Sin, which is this whole concept of like this supernatural like circus like from like the fifth dimension or something that's like trying to corrupt Nightwing and make him like their agent of change. And it's a very wild, like crazy concept, and it's been like framed since the beginning of the run. And I don't know
it
how I feel about it yet because it is very kind of out there and mystical and supernatural and cosmic. But I feel like it's been done in a way where, like, so far it works.
there's a theme to it. It's like Batman has a problem with Joker and a clown, so Nightwing's involved with the clown group.
And I'm like, it's fitting. Like, Dick Grayson was a circus acrobat as a kid. So, like, it's a circus trying to, like, make him into their own, like, twisted, like, corrupt performer that inspires, like, change for their agenda in the world. So, it's also interesting because there's a kid who was part of one of the gangs who then, like, there's an adventure with the fifth dimensional imp, like his Batmite, but like for Nightwing, so like Nightmite. And so it's this whole crazy thing where like this kid gets transformed into like the OG Nightwing, like the Nightwing of the Nightwing and Flamebird stories that Superman told Dick at the beginning that inspired him to become a hero. So Nightwing and Flamebird are these like Kryptonian heroes with superpowers.
Interesting.
And so this kid now has like basically been Shazammed into like the OG Nightwing. So it's this kid who has these Superman level powers, which I think is really interesting because now you're making like Dick Grayson like a mentor to a younger hero, but it's literally a kid in the body of this like giant Superman.
Does he know?
Yeah, he knows it's him. He's like trying to help guide this kid with these crazy Superman level powers, and he's like, this is nuts. It's very fun.
Yeah. I really am so behind. You're just
Yeah,
blowing
you
my
gotta
mind.
catch up, Josh.
I know. I'm reading Poison Ivy. And I started it, but I haven't really read too much. The other one is Zatanna, which
yeah, I gotta read was it the Mariko Tamaki Javier Rodriguez that series? I feel like everyone's been raving about that.
Yeah, mostly gooners. I'll be honest.
But there's a new Zatanna series coming out by Jamal Campbell.
Yeah, I heard. I'm so excited.
I've been enjoying a lot of the Mark Waid written stuff right now too. There's like World's Finest, which has been going on for years now, which is like a very fun like set of like Silver Age, like campy adventures between Superman and Batman and Robin, like set in the distant past.
Weren't we just talking about Mark Waid like 2 hours ago?
Maybe.
I sent you a text.
Oh yeah, when you were sending me the text about his reaction to the death of Gwen Stacy and how deeply it cut him, he was like, that was my Kennedy assassination. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of comic book readers who were reading the night Gwen Stacy died at the time felt that way.
I mean, I'll be fair to Mark Waid. That's like a lot of people, especially if you don't experience death that early on in your life, will say that. Like, a lot of people said, like, yeah, I was traumatized when they killed all the Transformers in the Transformers movie.
Yeah.
The animated one.
I've heard about that, yeah.
A lot of Doctor Who, kids who watch Doctor Who said in the old one said like in the 60s when they just killed off a character, this little boy, and they just had him explode in a space station, that traumatized a lot of kids. So I'm like,
that I can see that being very traumatic.
Yeah. So I can see like this young Mark Waid reading is like, oh my gosh, they just killed this character that I grew attached to.
Yeah, I was like, Captain America being killed off back in 2007, and it like made the news literally, like real life news that Marvel killed off Captain America post Civil War.
Did you know what happened to his shield canonically?
Stephen Colbert got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that
You
Hilarious.
left him a letter saying only you have the red, white, and blue balls to wield the shield.
Yeah, and I think Marvel sent him a shield, and Colbert's wife didn't know anything about comics, so she cried. She felt like it was a real patriotic thing from some person out there. She had no idea it was a comic.
Well, anyways, speaking of Mark Waid, World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited are the big ones he's doing right now, and I think they're a lot of fun. World's Finest is fun because you have Dick Grayson as Robin. It's like set in the distant past, and like Mark Waid also does have an encyclopedic knowledge of like Marvel and DC. I mean, he wrote the history of the Marvel universe and the history of the DC universe. And so he makes for a lot of really smart and fun, like Silver Age, like goofy stories with characters that he knows the lore for very well, like set in the past. The artwork is gorgeous by pretty much any series he does, whether that's World's Finest, where he's got like Dan Mora or Adrian Gutierrez crushing it on art. And then Justice League Unlimited hasn't gotten that far along because it's been interrupted by like crossovers with World's Finest, like We Are Yesterday, which was a lot of fun. And it's also been interrupted now recently by DCKO, when the tie-ins for that have been great.
What is DCKO?
We'll get to that. I'll explain that.
That one I still don't know. Everyone's talking about it. I was like, what is this thing?
We'll get there. But World's Finest is fun because you have fun adventures of Batman, Robin, and Superman going to like the Bizarro world, or them fighting like a hybrid of the Joker and Lex Luthor, or like really fun, goofy adventures like that.
Yeah.
And then Justice League Unlimited is fun because you can tell it takes a lot of inspiration from the cartoon series of the same name, where like almost every DC hero is featured on the team and gets like a brief spotlight to them on these fun adventures. It hasn't gotten that far along without being interrupted by tie-ins, but I'm interested to see where the story goes post DCKO. And I also think Mr. Terrific has gotten a great spotlight in that series, leading his Terrific 10 during the DCKO tie-ins.
Nice.
But yes, I can explain DCKO to you now if you want.
Okay, I am so lost when it comes to DCK. I do not know what this is, but okay.
So this is like the next chapter in DC's All In. Like this is the end to phase 1 of DC All In. So basically the whole idea is that the heart of Darkseid is in the center of the earth and it's causing a lot of instability on the planet. And the whole idea is that like Darkseid is slowly reforming.
After killing himself to make Absolute Universe, right?
Yeah, Darkseid's return is imminent, and so the idea is that heroes across the DC universe, it's this big tournament. This is the only way they have to fight in this tournament to see who can wield like the power or the heart of Darkseid and take on Darkseid when he returns and save the universe. And once they get that power, they can like do whatever they want and shape the world in their image is the whole idea. So it's basically a big tournament arc, and or at least that's how it was like advertised and marketed. It's like a love it or hate it kind of event.
A lot of gooners are talking about it. A lot of gooners and horn dogs.
Gooners too?
Yeah, and horn dogs.
It's not even a horny event.
They like the idea of two women fighting each other and boxing each other, apparently.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, there was the Zatanna versus Harley Quinn fight.
Yeah.
But I think it's been fun. I've been enjoying it a lot. I know a lot of people complained because, like, there are some kind of valid criticisms if you think about it. Like, okay, the Joker has been glazed a lot. Like, Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson are writing the event, and Scott Snyder loves the Joker. It's like his favorite villain in fiction. And so, like, when he writes the Joker is like almost omnipotent and is so evil and chaotic and unpredictable that like he made it really far in the tournament. Spoilers now for DCKO for anyone who doesn't want the spoilers.
We are a comics podcast. Spoil away. Spoil like it's Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas.
Yeah, the Joker has been glazed a lot. Like he beat like the Red Hood when he really shouldn't have in the fight because like he kind of cheated. The fights I feel like for me have been very creative and like enjoyable to read. I think they're really fun like spotlights for each character and everyone gets to show off their strengths. I think some people were annoyed by like in December there was like all fight month, which is really there was like 8 different fights that if you wanted to read, they weren't in the main miniseries for DCKO. They were all in tie-in issues in other series. So I guess that annoyed people. They'd be like, so I have to buy like 8 different issues of different series when I probably should have been in the main event. these fights that you're not showing me. And it hasn't exactly been the most traditional tournament arc. Sometimes it's like a scavenger hunt, like for different items was one of the things they did. And sometimes it's like, oh, this is now a tag team match and you get to choose your partner in terms of who you want to fight. And then the most recent issue is like now you're fighting against like corrupted versions of like the absolute DC Trinity, like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. They were all like corrupted, like the absolute versions, and they had to fight against them. But I will say there was a mini series called Night Fight, which was probably my favorite part of the event, where Batman was almost immediately taken out of the tournament when the Joker showed up and shot him in the back. But what he had was a preparation. He had like cheated where he had like a boom tomb like rigged up to him. So if he was taken out of the tournament, he would teleport away from like captivity after he's like turned to a stone statue, which is what happens. And the Heart of Darkseid detected that he cheated and like sent him on this test where it kept sending him to different alternate worlds and futures where each of his Robins became Batman. And so like each issue was a focus on a different Robin as he is sent to this different world and has to fight each of his sons who have become this like future version of Batman. And it's really interesting look at like the different Robins and their strengths and their weaknesses and like how they're corrupted and like Batman having to like navigate these challenges. But I feel like at the end, when you read the last issue, you realize it's a real love letter and a tribute to Batman and the Bat family and what it means to the character of Batman and to all the Robins and Batgirls and everyone involved. So it was a really beautiful series.
Yeah. I now feel obligated to read it.
Yeah. DCKO at heart, though, is a Superman story, so he's taken center stage a lot of the time, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
But if you want spoilers for what happened in the most recent issue,
go ahead.
Batman returned, and then he eliminated the Joker from the competition by shooting him in the back.
Wait, he used a gun?
Yeah, he like hit him with a spear or something, I don't know. But then they took on the Absolute Trinity, and then Darkseid returned and eliminated almost everyone except Superman and Lex Luthor, and then Luthor shot Superman in the back, and Luthor won the tournament. So now the next issue apparently is going to be Lex Luthor versus Darkseid. Because the whole tournament is about how ruthless you can be to be like Darkseid, to wield the heart of Darkseid. And I'm like, yeah, Lex Luthor makes sense. Yeah.
His cunning, his conniving, he's a billionaire.
Why not?
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see how it concludes.
It's kind of like Doctor Doom in the sense that like he's this conniving guy that sometimes you go like he's the bastard we need to fight this other bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. He is very much like that.
Yeah.
Like he's necessary evil, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah. All those jaws from LexCorp.
Yeah. But you want to talk about the absolute DC titles?
Yeah, I don't know as much about them as you do, but as we kind of said, this is a universe where Darkseid killed himself to create a new universe, and we're getting some interesting takes. There's Absolute Wonder Woman, who we talked a little bit about in our last episode. It's more of a magic-based character. She's more witch-like. Which like DC has kind of figured out. I feel like fairly recently, years blend in my head when they made her part of the Justice League Dark Team a few years ago, and now they're just going full in on it. That she's a magic character, she's a witch, and she gets to fight other sexy goth witches like Zatanna.
What's really fun about this series is, like you're saying, it is more magic focused, and I think that is the difference because instead of growing up on Paradise Island like Themyscira, she is raised in hell by Circe, the witch from mythology, and also a Wonder Woman villain in the main comics. And what's really interesting is this does change things because she does have like magical abilities more now. Honestly, what's interesting is that Absolute Wonder Woman is very much the same character. She's still loving, she's still very compassionate by nature, she's still very kind, she still like communicates with animals, she's still like kind of an ambassador on Earth for like her people, even though she's hasn't even met most of the Amazons. Like spoilers for Absolute Wonder Woman is that like she has met like one or two Amazons now, but like it's still very similar in that she still has Steve Trevor, and she still like meets like different members of her supporting cast like Etta Candy and Barbara Minerva, who becomes Cheetah,
Cheetah.
like in the main comics. So it's very similar, but I think Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman are doing something really unique with the character that somehow manages to be true to Wonder Woman as to who she is. And I think Wonder Woman fans almost unanimously agree that this is better than the Tom King run. So
it's
there's
kind of
that.
like Spider-Man Renew Your Vows or Ultimate Spider-Man with compared to Amazing. I feel in that like sometimes the alternate universe one is just true to the character at times.
Yeah. Despite being a different take, is still somehow more true to the character than whatever the main title is happening right now.
Not that I'm a witch, but I really like how they gave Absolute Wonder Woman like witch tattoos and like witch stuff on her.
Yeah, and it makes it different because now she can use magic for different purposes in the stories, and it's like an extra tool for her to use. Where she literally like turns into Medusa to fight this giant creature at the end of the first arc. She's got like the undead Pegasus that she rides to, and like a big ass sword, and
I don't
cool.
like the big ass sword. I'll be honest.
I love a big ass sword. I love one.
I love swords. I just don't like the big ass. It's like the Buster. I don't even remember where the Buster sword is from, which game it's from. But it's like we don't all need a giant sword that defies physics. It's like it's not even a sword. It's like a butcher's knife that you like grew.
I love it. I don't care what anyone says. I love a comically large weapon.
I love that she fought Absolute Zatanna, sexy goth witches, and Zatanna flirts with her the entire time.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us are kind of rooting for Diana and Absolute Zatanna now. Yeah. Like, there's definitely been a bit of, maybe not even subtext at this point, like, Zatanna is clearly flirting with Diana in a couple of these panels.
It's a reference. There's an old Zatanna comic where Zatanna and Wonder Woman were in the bathroom together, and Barbara walks in on them and sees them making out. They weren't making out, but from the distance she thought they were.
Those dreams might come true.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting now that, because Diana in this universe is very magic based, to have her meet Zatanna, I think that's very fitting. And I'm interested to see more about this new take on Zatanna in this new universe, who was also part of the Suicide Squad that was put together by Veronica Cale, who was also a Wonder Woman villain in the main universe too. So not a lot has changed in that sense, but they've got like a new take on the Suicide Squad now too, and Zatanna's in the center of that, and I'm interested just to see like how that plot develops and how Wonder Woman's relationship develops with Zatanna and in what capacity.
Zatanna deserves a good love interest. She's like, a lot of her comics revolve around her being like lonely and wanting a love interest, or her being horny and loving like someone, and they just never pair her up with anyone. She flirts with Batman. She's sometimes with Constantine, but that's like a weird relationship that I have mixed feelings about as a person who's a fan of both characters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see her with a nice person.
Yeah, hopefully Absolute Wonder Woman gives you your wish, Josh.
Did you know the Zatanna movie is not going to be made? They said that they're not going to be. The script was written for it by the lady who made Wuthering Heights.
Wow.
And because she was on a podcast and she complained like, "Did you know I wrote a script for Zatanna and like it was really good and they like threw it out."
Damn.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I'm like, wait, you got a great writer and director to make a Zatanna script and you didn't do it? I get DC, like, the Warner Brothers is not in a good financial situation right now to do great stuff, unfortunately, like, which is why a lot of stuff on HBO that's really good gets canceled.
Yeah,
or sometimes they just make stuff and don't release them. But like Batgirl, like the Scoob movie, weirdly enough, I'm like,
that got released.
The sequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, you guys had a Zatanna script and by one of like the preeminent female directors, and you guys threw it out.
Well, another title that I'm really excited for every month as it comes out is Absolute Batman.
I don't like his chest.
You don't like it?
I like it. I just don't like how his chest. I'm sorry, it's just distracting for me. It's like Code Lyoko, and when I was a kid, everyone loved it, and I hated it because I just got distracted by these disgusting belly buttons that were too big. That's me with the Absolute Batman's chest.
Well, the thing is, you would have loved the most recent issue of DCKO because Batman faces off against his absolute counterpart and he looks at it. And Scott Snyder wrote this too, who wrote Absolute Batman. And he's like, that is the absolute ugliest bat symbol I've ever seen. It was so funny. But I think it is inspired a lot. You can tell by like the Dark Knight Returns Batman because he's just massive. and his bat
Yeah.
symbol is like fat. But I love this series because it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just fun, which is great. Like, I feel like Scott Snyder really found a second life on Batman. Like, I love the Snyder Capullo like New 52 Batman run, and that was like them just doing Batman, like traditional Batman, just classic Batman for most of it anyways. And then this is like we get to do something different because that's the nature of Absolute, like as just an imprint, and they just amp it up to 11. They're like, let's literally like almost make it literally Batman on steroids because he's huge, he's massive, he can like take off his chest piece and turn it into an axe, and like in the first issue he cuts someone's hand off with it. He like creates like spikes with his cape and tendrils. It's and the artwork by Nick Dragata, and like even like you get fill-in artists like Marcos Martin, who's incredible as like a fill-in, which is crazy. Like all the artists are like bringing their A game to it. It's just fun, it's over the top, but it's also just such a cool premise to begin with because like Batman is working class in this. He's not a billionaire.
Okay, is he working class? I know he's on a construction site. I read that.
Yes.
But he's an engineer. He's an engineer.
All right. Well, anything is working class by comparison then to being a billionaire.
Well, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But the whole idea is like Batman, who does not have like his limitless like budget and arsenal. Like he is literally like a man of the people in Gotham. He didn't travel the world to become Batman. He stayed and learned in Gotham. He's through and through like a Gothamite. And it's so interesting because now by contrast, the Joker is the one who traveled the world, and he's like the one who's got all the money and got the butler and the mansion and everything, which is such a cool like subversion of everything and a twist. And Alfred is like an intelligence agent who's there to like spy on Gotham and becomes like an ally to Batman.
Isn't that kind of where like regular DC is just going with Alfred now, where they go like, oh, he has like a former intelligence or special ops background?
Yeah, they've had that background for him for a while now.
Yeah.
But now he's not a butler here. He meets Batman as like someone in the field, and they become like uneasy allies, I guess you'd say. And like almost all of Batman's rogues gallery, like a good handful of them are his childhood friends too in this. Catwoman, Killer Croc, Two-Face, the Riddler, the Penguin, like these are all people that he grew up with and is very close with. And I think that is a cool take on things now.
Depending on the version, isn't he sometimes always been friends with Harvey Dent?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But like this is like most of his main villains that he's actually like really good friends with and like close with, and I think that's really cool. And I think even like the ones that are villains that like are like Bane and the Joker, and now you're starting to see this where they're going to do like Poison Ivy and then Scarecrow.
Oh, my two favorite DC Batman villains.
No, like you see them and they look terrifying. Like Absolute Bane is like still somehow 10 times bigger than regular Bane. Absolute Joker looks like a monster. Like Poison Ivy and Scarecrow, from what I've seen, look terrifying. Like Absolute Mr. Freeze is horrifying to look at. Like they just keep going bigger and bigger, and that's what I love about this. They're like, let's just go bigger and crazier, and like let's just get wild with this series, and that's what I love about it. That's a good chunk of what I love about Absolute Batman.
I love the scene when he's teaming up with Absolute Wonder Woman, and he goes like, "Oh yeah, I gotta use PTO for this."
Yeah. I love a Batman who has to take PTO. He can't just zip away on a private jet whenever he wants, like billionaire Bruce Wayne. He's got to put it in with his boss first. He's got to take the time off. He's got to make sure he's got the hours.
He kind of reminds me actually of like a poor version of the Ben Affleck Batman, where a lot of the core traits remain, but he's just way more violent. Like people forget that KGB Beast wasn't Batman versus Superman, but Ben Affleck Batman blew his head off in the final battle.
Yeah, I'm glad Absolute Batman isn't a murderer like Ben Affleck's Batman. He still has the no-kill thing, which is great, but he is brutal. That's for sure. He's angrier, he's rougher around the edges, he's not as composed as regular Batman, but I feel like the heart of it is very much there. He's there to save lives, and he's there to like give people hope, and he's there to look out for the people of Gotham. And they're also teasing that we're gonna get an Absolute Robin soon. I've even seen panels in recent issues of there's like a first responder that has his name tag, and it's D. Grayson. And I'm like, oh, we're getting Dick Grayson soon.
I don't like that. I want Robin to be an engineering intern that he just brings along because he can't get rid of him. It's like, this is my intern, Robin.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Make your intern into your sidekick because you're pretty much already there.
Yeah, I'm like, he's not a billionaire. He can't just grab an orphan. The only young people he has is the intern.
That would be really fun. Who knows? That might be the case. He might take him on as an intern.
Batman gives out extra credit.
But the last one I want to talk about is Absolute Martian Manhunter.
I did not even know about this one.
Absolute Martian Manhunter is so good. And I feel like people talk about Absolute Batman probably the most, then probably Absolute Wonder Woman. And like, I feel like Absolute Superman's, it's good. It's getting better, I think, for sure. Absolute Flash is fun. Absolute Green Lantern is like a slow burn and it's good. But like, probably what I think might actually be the best Absolute title is Absolute Martian Manhunter, because it's Denise Camp, who is amazing, who wrote The Ultimates, who's still writing The Ultimates, is so good, and wrote like Children of the Vault and all this other stuff, some things that I haven't even read. But he's with Javier Rodriguez on art, and Javier Rodriguez is so good as an artist, and is like, this series is very out there, very mind-bending. It's like a wild departure, probably the wildest departure from the main universe that we've seen, because it's literally like John Jones is just a regular guy. He's a detective, but all of a sudden he has this accident, and now there's this Martian, I think he's called like the Mind Fucker or something, that literally like is in his head and like only he can see, and who shows him, like, who opens up his eyes to like other people's thoughts and like the world around him generally. And like the whole thing is like, there's a lot of deeper like existential like problems at the root of society that the Martian is trying to get him to fight with him, because they're up against like the white Martians that no one can see but have like invaded society and like poisoned people's minds.
Yeah.
And it's so like beautiful. I can't even describe it because you have to read the pages and look at it. Like the way that Javier Rodriguez like does all this, it's just stunning and mesmerizing to look at. Like the whole series is like an acid trip. It's like so colorful. Like there's a lot of great color work on that. Like just like the little wisps and lines of people's thoughts, and like the smoke. There's a lot of smoke through the series and like ethereal visuals. It looks so good.
It's on my list. I love these acid trip comics, like the old Question comics, or a lot of Doctor Strange comics.
Yeah, no, you would love it. You should get on that. You gotta read Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Get some edibles, take a train trip back to Arizona, and just read some Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Oh man, I could not take an edible and read that. I would be so lost. I'd be like, I can't handle this. This is too much for me. And there's a lot of really good political and social commentary that we always get with Denise Camp, but I feel like it's really good in this series.
I thought Denise Camp was a woman until like very recently.
I don't know if it's like Denise or Dennis, but it's Deniz.
Yeah.
Some people say Dennis Camp. I just say Denise Camp. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name.
It's a
Mr.
dude.
Camp.
I did not know you were a dude. Not that if you weren't, if it's okay, but you know.
Anyways, we stumble over our words trying to correctly pronounce someone's name and get the right gender.
Yeah.
But it's such a good series. I think the societal commentary is spot on. I think it's so cool how they have John Jones tackling a lot of like deeper societal issues going on in the world. And I feel like it's just wild. And the character of John Jones is like a mess, because he's got like a wife and son too, and he's trying to like reconcile with his family despite the fact that like he is fucked up in the head, because he literally has a Martian like talking to him all the time and showing him like these crazy like underlying truths of society.
I mean, I am a little weirded out about like a cop reading people's minds.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like, do you have a warrant for that, officer?
Yeah, like I'm not thinking anything until I get my lawyer. But yeah, I recommend.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, Josh?
There's like a weird one. I think this is Image. I'm not sure. But have you ever read Irredeemable?
No, I've heard about it, but I've heard it's very good.
I read it years ago, and they're making a movie about it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was Mark Waid who wrote that. It's like basically like a not Superman that like just goes further and further down the rabbit hole of doing worse and worse things until he becomes, like the title says, irredeemable.
I binged it. It's a great comic, and I looked up. It's not Image. It's Boom Studios, a subsidiary of Penguin.
Okay. Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah.
I heard about also the companion series Incorruptible.
I know of that, but I haven't read it.
The villain then like goes on this whole redemption arc, trying to be a hero to compete with like the hero that has become the villain. So I think that's really funny.
Yeah, but Irredeemable, great comic. They're making a movie out of it. I just remembered off the top of my head, so I wanted to say it.
Yeah.
They're allegedly making a movie about it.
I've had that on my list for a while now, so I really got to read that.
Oh, it's great. There's a scene where it's revealed like the Joker stand-in, who's the main villain of like their Superman stand-in, is like secretly having sex with like clones of that Superman.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, I got to check it out now.
I know.
But I'm not a HornDog.
I'm not a HornDog either.
Of course not. You just read sex criminals.
I thought you were gonna say like this, the fact I said like sexy goth witches on this episode like 5 times, but
well, we have it on record, so I think that just speaks for itself.
That means nothing. I just said you were gonna use something else to accuse me.
Nope, that's all I needed. Bring him in, boys. Take him away. You're going to horny jail.
There's no such thing.
As far as you know.
Uh-huh.
Well, anyways, next time you want to go back to some Ultimate stuff?
Yeah, I'm always down for some Ultimate stuff.
I think next time we're going to talk about the Ultimates Annual #1, which was next on the list. I think that should be really fun. And if we have time to, we can also go into Ultimate X-Men Annual #1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to get back into it. For those of you who said they were sad that we're not covering Ultimate anymore, we're going to be going back.
Yeah.
Intermittently, not like every episode, but still, we haven't given up.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next time, where can our listeners reach out to us, Josh, if they want to email us about comics we read, podcast, or anything else?
ultimatecomics.podcast@gmail.com. That's comics plural, podcast singular. ultimatecomics.podcast@gmail.com.
That's right. We also have an Instagram that has images of the comics that we read and reels from the episode, and those reels are also in the form of TikToks on our TikTok page. And we also have full episodes of this show on YouTube, and that's all at Ultimate Comics Podcast. But until next time, everyone, take care and make mine Ultimate Comics. Bye-bye.